Well, good evening, everybody. I will go ahead and share some information about tonight's Planning Commission meeting agenda. I will do that by showing you this screen quickly. I'm Dan Power. I'm the Planning and Economic Development Director here for any of you watching. And I'm just going to give a quick introduction for tonight's agenda. Tonight we have a straightforward agenda. We will have two new business items on the agenda. It will involve a final site plan review of the Hampton Manor Senior Housing Project near the southeast corner of Morton, Taylor, and Tyler Roads, as well as a review of a minor site plan amendment to the Cobblestone Ridge residential subdivision project. I do have one update to share at the end of the meeting regarding some improvements that you'll be seeing soon at French Landing Park. And as a reminder, tonight's meeting is being broadcast on YouTube. It is being held via Zoom, and that's the way you can participate with two-way communication. You can either raise your hand, use the chat function, or use the *9 function. This meeting is being held remotely to mitigate the spread of COVID-19, to protect the public health and provide essential protections to Van Buren Township residents. And the meeting is being held virtually as permissible under PA 254 of 2020 and the declaration of a health emergency in Wayne County. So to participate in this meeting, you can use the prompts that I just mentioned. And with that, we will ask the chair, Carol Thompson, to start the meeting. And I think during roll call, planning commissioners, if you could just verify whether you are actually meeting virtually from inside or outside the township. I think we need to document that as well. And I'll turn it over to Chair Thompson. Thank you.
Thanks, Director Powers. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Charter Township of Van Buren Planning Commission meeting for Wednesday, July 14th of 2021. We'll start with the roll call, please. Ms. Harmon.
Brian Kelly.
Here, and I am in the township.
Medina Atchison.
Here, I am within the township.
Callie Barr.
Here, and I'm in the township.
Sherry Budd.
Here, and I'm in the township.
Brian Cullen. Jeff Jar. Carol Thompson.
Here, and I am also in the township. Thank you. We'll have an approval of the agenda first. There is an agenda before us. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thanks. Commissioner Atchison, support.
Support.
Commissioner Budd. And a roll call vote, please.
Callie Barr.
Present.
Sherry Budd.
Yes.
Medina Atchison.
Yes.
Brian Kelly.
Yes.
Carol Thompson.
Yes. So our agenda is approved. We also have minutes from the regular meeting of June 23rd of 2021. Is there a motion to approve the June 23rd minutes?
And Chair, I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Commissioner Kelly. Support.
Support.
Commissioner Budd. Any corrections or changes? Hearing none, a roll call vote to approve.
Medina Atchison.
Yes.
Callie Barr.
Yes.
Sherry Budd.
Yes.
Brian Kelly.
Yes.
Carol Thompson.
Yes. So great. Our minutes are approved. And thanks to Ms. Hubbard. I think it was her first time taking minutes for us, and it was a good discussion, but she captured it all very well. We'll move
Madam
right
Chair?
into. Yes, Commissioner Cullen. Great. We'll make sure that you get counted and get called on in the roll call vote. Thanks, Commissioner Cullen. New business. Our first item is the Hampton Manor Senior Housing Final Site Plan Approval. The applicant, Van Buren Investors Land Holdings, LLC, is requesting final site plan approval for the construction of a proposed senior housing facility that is called Hampton Manor with assisted living and memory care unit. The property is located on the south side of Tyler Road between Morton Taylor and Haggerty Road and is Zone C Local Business District. The parcel is 7.11 acres in size and includes 6 original tax parcel IDs. The project's combined parcel is located at 43345 Tyler Road the parcel ID number 83-054-99-0012-701. And I'll go to Director Powers to introduce us on where we're at with this project, and then we'll hear from our professionals and also from the applicant. Director Powers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to first remind the Planning Commission that tonight's applicant is Van Buren Investors Land Holdings, LLC. What they're proposing is a assisted living and memory care senior housing development with a 62,516 square foot building that includes 56 assisted living units and 24 memory care units. The site is located near the southeast corner of Morton Taylor and Tyler Roads, as the chair had mentioned. And so just, and we can refer to imagery as much or as little as we need to tonight, but just to give a little bit of perspective of where this site is located, we're talking about the southeast corner here of Morton Taylor and Tyler Roads. Had been 6 different parcels, as was mentioned, and now is a roughly 7-acre combined parcel with a new address at 43345 Tyler Road. And this is a project that is on a site that is Zone C local business. That's the zoning of the that area to the southeast of Morton Taylor and Tyler Road. Senior housing, whether it's senior apartment style housing or assisted living units, is a special land use in the C local business district. As such, this project follows the same process as is for other special land uses in the township. This project has both a site plan review component as well as a special land use review component to review the specific special land use standards for senior housing that are labeled in 5.143 of our zoning ordinance, as well as the general standards for special land use that are guided by the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act. On top of the special land use review, there is a site plan review. And the site plan review consists of a preliminary site plan review, which has already been done over the course of 2 different meetings by the Planning Commission and 1 meeting by the Township Board of Trustees. And then there's a final site plan review, which is what you're considering tonight, with end result of a long process of designing engineering details and getting into the specific design of the project and going through the full gamut of both Wayne County and Township review. So at different points in this project, there were different meetings, and I'll just recap those meetings to get everybody back up to speed on this project. There was a public hearing for the initial review of the special land use on January 8th of 2020. There's a lot of public input at that meeting, and resulting from that meeting, there were a lot of submittals by the applicant to clarify their project, including a traffic impact study and some other submittals. There was then a preliminary site plan review and action on the special land use taken by the Planning Commission on July 22nd of 2020. At that point, the Planning Commission had recommended preliminary site plan approval to the Township Board of Trustees and special land use to the Township Board of Trustees. And on August 18th of last year, the Township Board of Trustees approved the special land use request. And that's when the applicant then moved into a full engineering submittal for the details of their project. And as I mentioned, they received township approval, as well as on June 2nd, they received the Wayne County approval for their stormwater and soil erosion design. And so now is the point in the process when the Planning Commission had a chance to look at the final, full final site plan. There are few comments left at this point especially from the planning side. This is really a chance for the Planning Commission to go over and make sure that all the conditions of the preliminary site plan review have been addressed. And you will hear again from the township principal planner, the township engineer, and there's just a short memo from the fire marshal as well. If the Planning Commission votes to approve the project at this point, then we'll move into a pre-construction phase where there's a pre-construction meeting with the township engineer and the project's contractors. And then we'll move into potentially issuing a building permit and seeing the project get started. So that's a process recap. I'd like to turn this to our principal planner, Vidya Krishnan, to talk about the planning and zoning comments we have on this project.
Thank you, Director Power. I think you summarized the project pretty concisely so far, but it's been a while since the Planning Commission has seen this project. So just as a brief overview, the site plan approval was granted for a 62,500 square foot building with 56 assisted living units and 24 memory care units, and the site area is 7.11 acres. After special land use approval, the plan received preliminary site plan approval from the Planning Commission on July 22nd. I'll review those conditions. One of the main conditions of preliminary site plan approval was approval of the stormwater detention system by the township engineer and Wayne County. And that has taken the applicant a significantly long time because of Wayne County's own backlog and the amount of projects. The process to get through Wayne County was really, really slow for the applicant. I believe at this time, they have met all of Wayne County requirements and also the township engineer's requirements. I will defer to the township engineer to summarize that. One of the other conditions was the tree survey listed trees that were off-site. We wanted those removed off the site plan because if they're off-site, the applicant really cannot remove them and they shouldn't figure out in the site's tree counts itself. That correction has been made. Fourth condition was that a second generator was shown on the north side of the detention pond, and the Planning Commission had concerns about screening around it so that the noise from the generator does not travel to the single family home that is located to the southwest of the site. At this time, with the revised plan, that generator has been removed from the plan. There is only one generator and transformer, both of which are on the north side of the building, and they are well screened and landscaped, so they should not be an issue. And finally, special land use approval was granted by the Township Board of Trustees on August 18th of 2020. We went through the rest of the site plan, all other aspects of vehicular access, pedestrian circulation, sidewalks, crosswalks, signage, landscaping, building architecture are all consistent with what the Planning Commission previously approved for the project. So subject to final engineering approval from Wayne County and the township engineer, it is our recommendation to the Planning Commission at this time grant final site plan approval for Hampton Manor Senior Living. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thanks so much, Ms. Krishnan. I think before we have questions, let's hear the review from the engineers from Fishback and their recommendation, please.
Yes, Madam Chair, we do have Stephen Clayton from Fishback here tonight. So moderator, I don't know if I mentioned Mr. Clayton earlier, if you could bring him in, he's going to be able to speak about that. Well, he gets logged in as well. I'll mention I do have images of the site plan, which I did not share yet, but I'm glad to bring those up as well during or after Mr. Clayton's comments.
Thanks, Director Power.
Am I on next, Mr. Director Powers? Yes, sorry. Yes. Thank you, Director Powers, members of the board. As was mentioned, I'll be reading from our letter, Fishback letter, dated June 30th, 2021 for the Hampton Manor Senior Housing. The previous site plan was recommended for engineering and final site plan approval in our letter dated December 11th, 2020. We are recommending final engineering and final site plan approval. We had just a few comments that I'll read from our letter. In general, the irrigation plans must be included with the submittal of the engineering plans. The applicant stated the plan would be submitted, but it doesn't appear to be included as of yet.
Recording in progress.
Do we still have Mr. Clayton in the meeting?
I'm still on. I don't know if it was.
Okay,
I think somebody was muted and the audio issue seems to have gone away.
okay. All right, we'll go back to you then, Mr. Clayton. Please continue.
You have a note here that the final relocation for the overhead utility lines, those are known, that those need to be updated on the plans. In general, the plans had several unlabeled driveway culverts and storm sewer lines appear to be carried over from previous plans. Those should be removed in the issue for construction plan set. For the water main service, the township GIS indicated an existing water service to the existing building, which will need to be indicated on the plans and shown as properly removed and capped. The plan indicated that the proposed water main connections to the existing 12-inch main will be done using tapping sleeves and valves. So that methodology changes. We'd request that, if it's determined that a cut-in tie is required, that the applicant would verify the impact of the surrounding residents, and the connections would need to be scheduled in a manner to minimize impact. There's also water main lines shown underneath the ditch. We would like to see that shifted further east so that the fittings are no longer under the stormwater ditch. And then there was just a minor comment about a table on sheet 22 with the for the 20-inch steel casing pipe, or excuse me, for the casing size, and we would request that the correct row would be highlighted there. The applicant must prepare, with the help of the township, submit to the Eagle for the public drinking water systems. Those were comments for the water main. Moving on to the sanitary sewer portion. The applicant has not found information on the existing sanitary discharge system on site. So if an existing system is found, the applicant must add a portion to the note stating that if a sanitary sewer lead is found on site, they must remove or abandon the lead and seal per the township standards. Also, interior drops are not permitted within the township owned manholes. So connections to any public sanitary system must be done via a tap or with an external drop. The applicant must also submit a sanitary basis of design with the issued for construction set. Moving on to the storm sewer portion. The applicant has provided information that the plans have been submitted to Wayne County. An approval letter from OHM Advisors dated May 26, 2021 shows that the plans have been approved for the stormwater components only. We also noted that a stormwater management system, long-term maintenance plan and exhibit are required to be part of the plan set for the Wayne County approval process. Upon receiving approval from Wayne County for the maintenance plan, the owner or owner representative for the property will then need to work with the township to sign a separate maintenance agreement for all stormwater maintenance on site. For the paving and grading, we just noted that a Wayne County permit for the road right-of-way construction must be obtained from the county. The approval that we have seen is for the stormwater only. Wayne County must approve all modifications and driveway cut locations to Martin Taylor and Tyler roads. Also, regarding the soil erosion and sedimentation control, the township has received the SESC Wayne County permit dated 11/21/19. So during construction, adjustments to the SESC plans may be necessary. We kind of noted some of these in our letter. The plans indicate some areas where the silt fences cross active ditch lines. Fabric silt fence may not be used as a filtration device in ditches. The sediment traps are to be installed at all points where stormwater runoff exits the site through culverts. And also check dams should be installed in conjunction with the sediment traps to display flow prior to exiting. So just some minor comments for the SC plans. With these comments, we are recommending the Planning Commission grant the Hampton Manor Senior Housing Project engineering and final site plan approval based on our engineering review of the project site. The applicant will be required to address the comments in their issue for construction plan set prior to the pre-construction meeting. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
That's great. Thank you, Mr. Clayton. Before we go to any questions or comments, I also ask Director Power to note that we have received a recommendation from the Fire Inspector Lanahan.
Yes, that's right. Fire Marshal Lanahan has provided a letter that clarifies that some of the requirements related to the building permit review. He has also clarified that one set of as-built construction drawings, schedules, and details as they relate to construction, fire protection, life safety, and response will be required, as well as a digital CAD layout of the building prior to the final occupancy certificate. And I will steal just one moment to bring up a picture that was submitted with the preliminary review of this project that captures the overall site plan and landscaping, I think, pretty well. And will also be subject to the fine tuning of the final plans, but it gives you a good idea of the landscaping and overall look of the site. So let me just show this again. And of course, planning commissioners, you do have a civil plan set that was distributed in hard copy, as well as there are also plans and submittals up on the website. But this just gives you an overall picture of the project site. And then there's another image of the building rendering that I will share on my other slide. And then I will mention that we do have with us tonight Mr. Zohaib Syed, as well as Bill Thompson, who are respectively a representative of the owner and the project engineer. So they are available to make some comments about the project as well. And just transitioning to that, here's the most recent colored rendering of the front of the building. And with that, I would turn my time over to the applicant if they have any comments, or back to the chair first.
Nope, that's great. Thanks. I think we'd all like to hear an update from the applicant. Make sure that they're in receipt of our recommendations and any questions or comments that they have about that. So we'll go right to our applicant from Van Buren Investors Land Holding LLC.
Good evening. My name is Bill Thompson from Manor Associates, representing Hampton Manor. I think Dan Power and Vivian have done a good job of outlining what we've done. We've completed the engineering reviews. We'd like to get any copies of any letters that are still outstanding. I've got a brief PowerPoint presentation if you'd like to see it, but again, I think Dan's provided a lot of information there. If you'd like, I could share a screen with you.
Sure, that'd be just fine. Go ahead, Mr. Thompson.
Gotta find it first. There we go. Okay, again, I'd shown you a location map. This is the site is located at the southeast corner of Taylor Road and Morton Taylor Road. An aerial of the site gives you an idea of of what we're doing here, of where we are. The township offices are off to the left.
Hold
the
on just
chair.
a second there, Mr. Thompson. Yeah, I don't think we're getting the screen share.
Oh,
That's what I was gonna say.
Go ahead. Technical difficulties are common in Zoom meetings, so get yourself situated. We're fine.
okay, well, so you're not getting the screen share?
Not getting it yet.
Okay, well, I can keep on going. I've got site plan and.
Are we,
Okay, plan.
Director Power, are we sure we have all the permissions that we need to so that Mr. Thompson can share his screen?
As far as I can tell.
Okay,
Chair, this is the moderator. Yes, he has full permissions. Mr. Thompson, if you do share your screen at the bottom, you should be able to do it that way.
We have done that.
Did you select the correct window of your PowerPoint or presentation?
Yes, I have.
Okay,
no, we're stumping the expert. We're in trouble now.
Yeah, it should be all through the share screen at the bottom. Maybe exit out, Mr. Thompson, and try it again.
Okay, share screen.
We are still not seeing anything. If you think you've shared.
Yep.
Yeah, if you have multiple windows open, make sure you're selecting the power window.
I got a PowerPoint coming up.
Is his
Huh.
video activated?
Yeah, that is a good question, Commissioner Cullen, because Mr. Thompson, you still are audio only, but I don't know that would affect screen sharing. I don't think it actually does.
I got my screen up. It lists Hampton, Manor, Van Buren Township. I don't know what else I can do from here.
Okay, well, let's see if we can make this work out. It's partnership. If Director Power, if you bring up the site plan image that you shared with us a little while ago, Mr. Thompson, can you kind of talk us through what's the key points in your PowerPoint while we look at that site plan? Does that help you?
That'll help.
Okay.
Okay, well, you got the location, Tyler Road and Morton Taylor Road. The site consists of 56 assisted living units, 24 units for memory care. The building is basically in a square, contained within a square, with parking around the east, north, and west sides. South of the building, we have a detention basin that discharges into Morton Taylor Road. Sanitary sewer is provided off of Tyler Road. Water main will come off of Tyler and Morton Taylor Road, do a complete loop around the building to satisfy the fire marshal. There are fire hydrants all the way around, and there's a fire lane that loops the whole building. We've worked with the Wayne County Road Commission and DPW and gotten their approvals. We're all set to go. The landscape plan you can see.
Very nice.
A lot of trees here. Sidewalk connections. These sidewalk connections shown on the landscape plan are not to find the ultimate sidewalk connections. They do connect across the road. A lot of open space on the site. The interior of the building, the interior of the, excuse me, the interior of the assisted living building, there are 4 courtyards that have the putting green in there, lounge chairs, and little outdoor recreation areas. The area between the memory care and the assisted living is pretty much assigned to the memory care residents. They have access to that area. It is fenced off on the north end and the south end, so they don't have access to leave the site. Other than that, I'd be happy to answer any other questions you might have. And Mr. Syed is here also, if you wish to address any questions to him.
Great, thank you. So good work, team. We were able to get through that part of the presentation at least. So now we're open to questions or comments, discussion by the Planning Commission. So any planning commissioners have questions or comments for staff, our professional planner, engineer, or the applicant? Anyone?
Chair, I have a question.
Yes, Commissioner Cullen.
Yeah, it looked like there was some screening between, or fencing between the assisted care and the memory care wings. What kind of fencing is that to be? Is that to be chain link? Is that to be, excuse me, decorative? What kind of fencing?
Simulated wrought iron fencing, 6 foot high.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, Commissioner Cullen?
No, that was the question I saw when I looked at the plans.
That's great. Thank you. Any other commissioner? I have a question. I think it could be for the applicant, but I think it's also for Mr. Clayton from Fishbeck. There was a lot of discussion when we had the public hearings about storm water drainage on the site. And I just want to make sure that we have a good explanation of what happens when it rains and how the stormwater gets into the detention basin and then how it is pumped over to Morton Taylor. So perhaps Mr. Clayton can give us a walkthrough on that.
Absolutely, and maybe I'll just read from our letter kind of what the applicant is proposing. Hopefully, if we have more questions after that. The applicant is proposing to capture stormwater through draining leads and storm drain inlets to the detention basin, which is proposed through the restrictor standpipe onto a proposed pump station, which kind of goes into the manhole. There's an existing 15-inch storm pipe running north-south along the west side of Morton Taylor Road. There's also an emergency spillway between the stormwater basin and the roadside ditch along Morton Taylor Road. And then there was relocation of the roadside ditches along the north and the west sides of the property, which also included some driveway culverts. We also had a comment that the detention basin should be constructed prior to any other construction. And then immediately following the construction of the basin, suitable ground cover should be established.
Okay, that's great. So you feel confident that with the system that is proposed and constructed well, that this project will not be putting any other drainage issues on the surrounding properties who already seem to have some drainage concerns of their own?
Correct.
Okay, good, thank you. Anything else from the commissioners? Questions or comments from anyone in the audience?
I do not see any hands raised right now.
Okay, great. Anyone have anything else to add? Are you ready to take action? We would need a motion.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Kelly.
I move to grant the applicant Van Buren Investors Land Holdings LLC final site plan approval to construct a senior housing facility called Hampton Manor located at 43345 Tyler Road, based on the analysis and subject to the conditions detailed in the McKenna report dated December 11th, 2020, with the updated confirmation from McKenna dated June 14th, 2021, the Fishbeck report dated June 30th, 2021, and the Van Buren Fire Department report dated December 16th, 2020.
Great, thanks. Commissioner Kelly, support for the motion?
Support.
Thanks, Commissioner Atkinson, and this will be a roll call vote, please.
Brian Cullen,
Yes.
Medina Atkinson,
Yes.
Callie Barr,
Yes.
Sherry Budd,
Oh, Ms. Bud, you're muted.
Yes.
Brian Kelly,
Yes.
Carol Thompson.
Yes. So the motion passes and you have your site plan approval, gentlemen. I think you still have some final engineering submissions to make, and we look forward to seeing construction begin. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right. Item 2 under new business. Heinhurst Building LLC Cobblestone Ridge Site Plan Amendment. The applicant, Heinhurst Building LLC, is requesting an amendment to the approved Cobblestone Ridge project site plan to allow versions of 4 new single-family home models and architectural elevations. The unfinished Cobblestone Ridge subdivision is the subject of the request. The development is located on the east side of Huff Road, south of West Huron River Drive. And I'll go to Director Power first. I think he's done our review and he's going to walk us through what the applicant needs. Thanks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I can go to any images of these models as the Planning Commission desires, but I'll just go through my report. The images and architectural sheets that go with this report are also included in your packet. So the applicant, Pinehurst Building LLC, as was mentioned, is seeking architectural approval from the Planning Commission for variations on 4 new new or formally introduced for the first time home models in the Cobblestone Ridge project, which is a residential subdivision development that's also a planned residential development, and I'll explain why that's important in a moment, which is east of Hampton Road and south of West Huron River Drive. The submittal by the applicant includes introduction of models titled the Hampton model, the Harper model, both of which have multiple variations, the Cartwell and the Huron models. The Cobblestone Ridge project was a subdivision that was approved in 2004 as a PRD. As I mentioned earlier, that means planned residential development. With any planned residential development, there's a kind of a tailored approval that includes what's called a PRD agreement that lays forth certain terms regarding some different tailored zoning standards for a specific project, as well as terms regarding features such as open space and the architecture of the units in the project. In this project, that included certain prepackaged architectural models from the original builder. And so when a new set of architectural models comes in, that is reviewed as a site plan amendment to the original project site plan. So in this case, the Planning Commission is reviewing a PRD site plan amendment. I'll briefly go over some of the standards that we staff use when we review these. The PRD agreement for this project, as well as the township's zoning ordinance guide these review comments. So the first set of comments pertains to the site plan. These units range in width and depth, and yet they're bound to meeting the setbacks that are predetermined for this project under the project's PRD agreement. So in this project, there's a 5-foot minimum required side yard setback, a 25-foot required front yard setback, and a 35-foot required rear yard setback. In this case, all of these models and their variations range from roughly 40 feet to 45-foot width and as little as 33-foot depth all the way up to a 50-foot depth. In any case, these dimensions should adhere to the minimum setback standards with lots that are generally a minimum of 80 foot wide by 120 foot depth. The next thing that we look at is the floor area of the units. The Cobblestone Ridge project overall has a minimum floor area requirement for its houses of 1,800 square feet. In this case, all of the introduced models have floor areas that exceed that minimum, are actually over 2,000 square feet. And then one of the important factors in making sure that the PRD projects are visually appealing and have acceptable character for the community is that they have variation in their architectural style and a high quality of architectural style. The way that that is measured is by verifying that units have substantially different facades and architect features in relation to the units both adjacent, 2 lots on either side, as well as 3 lots across the street. And the features that we look out for include roof pitch and the location of major design features relative to the mass. Those are 2 of the standards that had previously reviewed with this project. The zoning ordinance also identifies the features such as the roof style, the number of windows, and the relationship of the windows to the mass, and some material standards. And so in an overview, in my report, I have a table that includes a breakdown of some of these features and their variation between the introduced units. As I mentioned, there are a couple of different variations within both the Hampton and the Harper units. The applicant has clarified that the intent is not for those variations to be considered as substantially different. So in other words, a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom Hampton sitting next to one another would not count as substantially different. You'd have to have the 2 totally different labels, such as Hampton and Harper or Hampton and Carwell. That being said, within the different units, they all have gable roofs. Most of them have a 6-on-12 main portion of their roof, but then within the different features within these models, there are substantial differences, including the placement and number of windows, the design features relative to the mass. For example, there's a full brick arched entry that goes to the 2nd floor on the Hampton unit, and no porch on that unit. Well, the other models, and I said unit, I mean models. Models have porches. There's differences with the way that the rakes and the windows and the door placement are in relation to the center of the house on all of these different models. And so between all the various differences, staff thinks that these standards have been met to show that in relation to one another, the 4 different main architectural models can have substantial difference. The next standard that I'll discuss is the building materials standard. The PRD agreement and the zoning ordinance require 50% brick on architectural elevations for projects in PRDs, for houses in PRDs. The Carwell and Huron models within this proposal have what looks like close to 50% brick. So what I do ask for is that prior to construction of these models, there is a simple material schedule that clarifies the amount of brick on those facades and verifies that they are 50% or more. And then the last item with any PRD project is that there do need to be 30% or more of the total number of units have to have side entry garages. And so within the broader picture of Cobblestone Ridge, I'm asking for verification that these units will be able to have side entry garages in a manner that meets the overall 30% requirement. Specifically concerning the Harper 3 and Carwell models, these do not appear to have side entry garage options, at least in terms of what I think I saw in our packet. So I will ask for verification that the 30% standard overall is met, and this is something that will be verified by staff as we review these building permit applications as they come in as well. So with that said, I recommend that the Planning Commission approve the site plan amendment to the Cobblestone Ridge development for the addition of the proposed models, Hampton 2, 3, and 4, Harper 3 and 4, Carwell, and Huron, to be built by, these are submitted by Campco Building Solutions, but the applicant is formerly Heinhurst Building LLC, based on the following conditions. 1, that township staff will continue to review each application for a new single-family home in the Cobblestone Ridge development in order to determine that the new home meets the required setbacks and that the elevation meets the township's substantially different architectural design standards set forth in the PRD agreement. 2, that prior to construction of the Carwell and Huron models, the applicant will provide a simple material schedule indicating the minimum 50% brick being met. And then 3, that staff will continue to monitor that the 30% side entry garage requirement is met subdivision wide. That is my recommendations for this project. We also have Mr. Richard Canzano here with representing the applicant tonight. So I'd be glad to have you hear from him as well. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks, Director Power. Very thorough review. And we'll go to the applicant. Any input that you have or anything you need us to know tonight?
Hello, thank you, Director Power. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, appreciate you guys reviewing our amendments to the application. We feel that all these models exceed the requirements by the township. As far as the 50% side garage requirement, we did a count of the 113 lots. We're already at 69, so we've already exceeded through the development from the beginning that was started by Trowbridge to now as far as the side garages. And all the other plans that we have meet the 50%, we think meet the 50% brick facade of the front, especially if we do a side garage. And actually the Harper does have a side garage model. I don't know, maybe I didn't include that in the packet for you. But I'm confident that Director Power and I on a application per application basis can make sure that we meet all the requirements going forward. And we're just offering more variety, more architectural diversity to the subdivision in hopes of finishing the project and getting the subdivision complete and getting these sales done. So I think it's a positive.
That sounds great. Thank you very much for clarifying that for us. How many lots do you think you have left, Mr. Canzano?
I'm not in the sales department. I apologize. I don't have that number. But I know that since I started on board, there was 5 Trowbridge permits already pulled. We already built those and sold those. I submitted 5 more. Those are in progress. And now I've just submitted 5 more. So we're going strong. I don't know how many lots we have left. I apologize.
That's all right. Not a problem. I just like hearing that houses are selling in Van Buren Township. So it sounds like you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Canzano?
No, I appreciate your time.
Sure. We'll go to Planning Commission discussion. There may be a question or two for you. Anyone on the Planning Commission? Questions or comments?
Through the chair.
Sure, Commissioner Atkinson.
Hi, I have a question for Mr. Canzano. There was discussion about the brick, the 50% brick. Can you please tell me where you're saying that brick's going to be? Looking at the plans, it looks like all the brick is situated at the belt of the house. And I wanted to make sure that we didn't have any developments that had 0 brick along the back of the home.
No, actually, I believe all of our homes have first floor brick all the way around.
Okay, up to the belt line.
Right, to the second floor line. Yes.
I'm good.
And
Thank
also, I'm sorry, but the 50% brick, I'm a little unclear on if that includes doors or windows. Maybe Dan can clarify that. I was told that you eliminated the garage door and the windows from the calculation when you did the 50% brick. Is that correct?
That's my understanding, is that you would, you're talking about the primary facade materials, so not including windows and doors.
Right, right.
It's a
Very
complex,
nice.
it's a complex formula.
It is.
Very nice, though I like the new plans, all the additional models for the development. I like it when there's a lot of variety. So thank you. Very nice.
Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Atkinson. Other questions or comments from the Planning Commission? Anyone in the audience? No hands raised. Okay.
Sorry, I reply, no hands
That's
raised.
That's okay. Are we ready to take action on this applicant request?
Madam
Is
Chair,
there a motion? Commissioner Kelly,
I'd move to grant the applicant Heinhurst Building LLC an amendment to the approved Cobblestone Ridge site plan to allow versions of 4 new single-family home models based on the analysis and subject to the conditions detailed in the Van Buren Township memorandum dated July 8th, 2021.
thanks. Commissioner Kelly, support.
Support.
Thanks, Commissioner Atkinson. And the roll call vote, please.
Brian Cullen,
Yes.
Brian Kelly,
Yes.
Medina Atkinson,
Yes.
Callie Barr,
Yes.
Sherry Budd,
Yes.
Carol Thompson.
Yeah, so the motion carries and you have the site plan amendment approval. And Director Power, I'm sure you'll do a great job working with the builder as they move forward to sell some more houses in Van Buren Township. All right, we are to general discussion and updates. Director Power, you want to tell us what you have first, and we'll see if anyone else has anything that they want to share.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. I will just mention that we have officially announced the workshop for the Sumter Road corridor. This is a continuation of the planning process for finding out where the community sits in terms of their desires for future land use. And I'm going to speak of this in terms of south of Hull Road as well as North Hull Road. They're very different land use history and parcel configuration on the 2 sides of Hull Road, but we want to look at the whole corridor as part of this planning process to see if people want to continue to make the portion south of Hull Road a primarily rural residential corridor with very light, low amount of commercial right at the corners, which is what the current future land use plan calls for, and that is consistent with a lot of the comments that we've heard so far. And then north of Hull Road, we have almost 15-year-old future land use map now that calls for commercial on a lot of the properties up to Owen Street. And we wonder if some of the mixed use that has been planned for in that area could be applied in some of those commercial areas of the corridor, or if there's something else that's more appropriate. So we've gone over all this before, but that's just a quick recap. And we hope to hear from more people over the next couple of weeks, and then I have people stop by the open house on the 28th and share their thoughts in more of an interactive format. Weather pending, it will primarily be outdoors at Fire Station 1 from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock on July 28th. And if you consider that a break, that's a break from, you will not have a normal planning commission meeting that night. So stay tuned for more information and details about that, but I think you've all received the invite for that at this point. The other update that I have is just to watch out for some work at French Landing Park. Earlier this year, the township's Public Services and Community Services Department had introduced a grant-funded proposal for tensile structures, a tensile structure at French Landing Park. And I'll show you briefly what that looks like. Thought I had it up, just one second. So what you're going to see is a structure similar to this image here at the bottom left square. And this is not the full detailed design of what we're reviewing and permitting now, but it gives you a pretty good visual image of what would be built. And the idea is to give a more dynamic covered gathering space at French Landing Park as part of some broader parking improvements that are grant funded. So the structure is about 32 feet by 50 feet wide. It's about 1,600 square feet in area. This is a park improvement project that's funded by grants. And so if you have any questions about this, feel free to reach out to me, myself, or Director Best or Director Renault over in Community Services, and we'd be glad to answer any questions about it. And
Great.
the updates I have. Yeah.
Okay, anyone else? Anything for general discussion tonight? Planning Commissioner? Anyone in the audience? All right, hearing none. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thanks, Commissioner Cullen. Support.
Support.
Support Commissioner Bud, and all in favor, please say aye.
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 Great. All right, we're adjourned. Good discussion, good presentation. Thanks so much to everyone.
Thank you, everybody.